with most interval questions, it's very helpful to sort the array. And in Java, we can do it like so. The reason why it's helpful to sort the initial intervals array is because when we have them in order, we can directly compare the end time of the previous interval and the start time of our current interval to tell if two intervals are overlapping. And in our case, this is very important because we need a count of the number of intervals that we have to remove in order to make all the intervals non-overlapping. So the way to do this is we can start by holding the previous end time, and we know that the intervals array that is provided to us has at least one element, so we can just directly say we want the first end time of our first interval. And now we can loop through the rest of the intervals. So for each of these intervals, we first want to detect if it's overlapping, and we can see that if the interval start time, which is going to be its first index inside this array, is going to be less than the previous end time. If this is the case, then we know that these two are overlapping, and now we want to make sure we remove at least one of these. Because these two are overlapping, we know that the count has to increase by 1, because we're going to have to remove at least one of these to have non-overlapping intervals. Now we want to know which one of the two we want to remove. That will hopefully allow us to remove fewer intervals in the future. And we can do that by looking at which interval has an earlier end time, because the one with the earlier end time will be less likely to overlap with future intervals. So we can set prev equal to the minimum of what it is right now and the current interval's end time. Now in the case that these intervals do not overlap, we just want to set our previous value to our current interval's end time. At the very end, we just want to return our count.